and welcome back to the second half of the show with Jared Lim. So,
Yeah.
I think it's very important for a lot of Malaysian bands, and especially the way that a lot of musicians got to know each other and come together was the open mic scenes here. And I think one of the it's definitely where the first time I seen you, probably met you, was probably the Waikiki ones.
Right.
So when was and I know that the people are like with Daniel and Joy all around the Waikiki gigs. Like you guys formed a very close friendship. So
Waikiki.
Waikiki. So
Yeah, the jam sessions.
the jam
Say
session.
Waikiki. I said, what
Sorry,
is
you're
this
probably.
man
I was wondering why.
talking
I was,
about?
I was wondering why Jared was looking confused there. He's going, "What the fuck is Waikiki?"
That's right. Earlier, the first part of the show, so you said Kiki something else. Like, what is Kiki? I was like, is it a band?
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually, I understood that, man. I got that perfectly.
Well, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But yeah, the jam sessions. I guess you could consider them as kind of an open mic thing, but I just want to backtrack with that as well. Because I came up in like the indie scene of like doing the Midakaria, the B,
Okay.
like that whole
Yeah.
where a set consisted of 4 songs, and like and it's just original songs that you would be playing.
Good.
Maybe you decide to put it in a cover. So that's like a indie scene, and in Malaysia, I think the scenes are kind of separated.
Very
You've got,
distinctly.
like,
Very.
yeah.
There's.
So I mean, you've got your jazz scene, you've got
Yeah.
your indie scene, then you've got
Chinese
your super
scene.
rock.
You
like
got your
rock,
you got your Chinese scene. You got your Malay scene, which is kind of there's
Yeah.
a Malay scene, and then there's a Malay rock scene, which is completely different, separate to a lot of things. Like, so
Yeah, super separate, and we don't know anyone in those scenes, and they don't know any of us.
Oh.
Even though you could have been doing it, like could have been doing music for like 10 years, and you
I was
still.
when I was like after I like 2 years in the mixing and no black tie, I'd convinced myself I know all the, like I must know all the big players in the Malaysian scene by this stage now. And I'm 6 years now into it. There's still people I have no idea. I'm just meeting for the first time.
Even
Weird.
within the indie scene, that there's also one side indie scene doesn't know this indie scene exists.
yeah.
Even the Malay scene, man. There's like the Shah Alam scene. There's their own little like. It's very different. It's like
It's weird
their own thing.
because back
The
home,
Johor scene also.
back
yeah,
home,
like
back home with the indie alternative scene, we're all small. We're all aiming for the same thing. We all knew each other. We're all like
Yeah.
sort of like when I used to run gig nights so back home. So I would try to put on a heavier rock band, an indie band, and an acoustic band on my gigs. So you get a bigger crowd because it'll be all different kids, indie kids, metal kids, rock kids would come to the gig. But it was just as to kind of give a different vibe to the gigs as well, rather than just having same the whole time. Like, but
Yeah.
so everybody.
I mean, the early 2000s,
knew each other.
early
So-
2000s was like that in KL. I mean, when I was first playing, but I think this was like the 2010s onwards. Things started to like with the internet and all this stuff.
It was weird for me to see so much distinct separations in scenes. It was like, no, we're
That's
in this
true.
scene, they're in that scene, we're all
That's
in this
why.
scene. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
We have
kind
too
of
many.
weird.
We have a wide variety of cultures here, lah. Also, that's why.
Yeah.
Also suburbs lah. People not leaving the suburbs lah. Lazy people.
And you know,
I have to leave. I'm Bangi, so not shit going on here. So
Also,
that's why.
also what Brandon said about the culture and like even I mean don't even talk about music, like just language barriers of like English not being your first language,
Yeah.
Chinese not being your first
Yeah.
language,
I understand.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. But anyway, like so there's that separation, and I was kind of clueless at that time about the bar scene, which was also at that time for me
Right.
separated because and so the jam sessions were like super fresh for me, like the going there and then seeing the caliber of musician
Yeah.
of like coming out of like not coming out but like widening my views on like, oh, this is like the bar scene, the jam session. Where else before it was all like, hey, let's go here to play our songs at an open mic. That's like an equivalent, indie scene equivalent would be of a jam session would be that.
What got you into that? What got you into playing the Waikiki jam sessions? You knew about it beforehand, or?
No, actually, it was like a friend of mine introduced, who was Daniel's cousin. It's a good friend of mine, Brendan, and he said, "Hey, you got to come see these guys play." And
So
I
all
saw
the
them
old
play.
timers, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
holy crap, like and to me it is like super, like fresh, like to hear I mean, and just the caliber of musician that was there. So that kind of drew me to the jam sessions, not the jamming itself. But I liked watching it, and then we became good friends with them, and like it just became more like a chill hangout spot.
Absolutely, because
Nice.
it's crazy. Like when I started going to Waikiki and seeing just the caliber, like just seeing that much talent, just coming just coming just for the love of music to play, like. Because in Ireland, you go to a pub, maybe a few decent bands, but generally there's a guy standing in the corner playing acoustic guitar with a drum machine playing country songs and stuff like that. There, like you don't expect to see the level of talent that you see in the jam sessions here, playing or singing like all the time.
Oh yeah, really?
No.
No, but now that's also the old timer pub scene guys playing at Waikiki. Waikiki is like legendary lah, but you still have that guy with a drum machine and just one female singer.
Yeah, correct. Still got.
Still got.
You've got to understand. You've got to understand. In Ireland, the majority of the best musicians, they're playing their own music in original bands, so they're not. They're generally
they're not playing pub.
They don't make their living from playing music. They generally make their living from having a job, and their music is their passion. So, like, for them, they were going to do jam sessions and no covers. They would know a few. They would know a few, but they don't have the repertoire that the guys have here, like where they can just go up and everybody knows this song and everybody knows that song. And Ireland would be like going, "Do you know that song? Oh, do you know this Nirvana song? Oh, I don't know." Like, and it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. They're all amazing. Wow. They're all amazing.
That's like
musicians, but
kind of unheard of in the bus.
Yeah.
That's
here they can like pull anything.
It sounds like I'm from Ireland, basically.
But you kind of come. The way you're talking about it, Jared, is that you come from what I would understand as an indie scene, like where you're just playing your own music and you don't know, and you don't know about the bar scene or anything else. It's the same back home. The bar scene's probably looked down on in Ireland. We look down on the bar scene because it's just guys doing covers. It was always about originals for us. It was originals, and doing your own music. And if you were doing a jam session, you'd be doing the other band's songs. You wouldn't be doing cover songs. You'd be doing the songs of the other bands that you were along with. Like, oh, do you know that? Do you know your song? Yeah. Well, we know your song. Let's jam it out and stuff like that. There.
Right.
So, but they see it like go to Waikiki at any given night and see talent like Daniel or Jimmy Wilson or John Thomas or people of that level of talent. Just And they're doing it because they just love playing music. They just love playing. And they're not doing it with a big smile on your face.
Unassuming venue. You go up there, walk through a closed like area, gym area, and then you go upstairs and you get like all this amazing musicians. I think if you're a musician and you found out about it when Waikiki was still around and the jam sessions were popping, you would want to just go there and chill. Like eventually it would just became that like just.
Oh, it's legendary, man.
Yeah,
Waikiki is like legendary, man. I mean,
some really great nights up there. I've done a sound there a few times. It was always fun.
It's interesting, because it's almost like I always early on, like in 2000, I did play a few pub gigs. And I always felt there's a certain. It's interesting. It's like a politics of scene, right? Where the pub scene is really musicianship terror, but they play covers.